Hey, everybody, welcome again to another episode of the Personal Privilege Podcast. I'm Chris Sanchez, joined as always by my other partners at Salient Strategies, Dustin Cox and Andrew Cates. And joining us today is one of the hardest working members of the Texas Capitol, Representative Minjarez from San Antonio. Representative, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning. It's good to see you all.
Now, Representative, at the Capitol, you're really well known for your fitness regimen. So what is your best advice for us to try and stay healthy and fit during the session?
I think the hardest part about session or even during this pandemic is we tend to get lost in the moment, right? And I'm the type that needs to do something for myself. If I'm not mentally, emotionally, or physically well, then I just can't produce and I can't focus. And so you got to find what works for you. I loved running. I was a marathon runner, but last session, I think of years of running, it just has really ruined my back. And some doctors have told me I just cannot be doing long distance running like I used to. So I took up the Peloton bike and I'm a big fan of it. I love it. And I also do Orange Theory too. So I mix the two up and it makes me happy. I'm more productive. I'm a better person to be around.
Is there one particular exercise that you're really fond of, or is there something that you're not as fond of, say, at Orange Theory? So I know I'm familiar with their workout regimen. So is there anything you really like there?
You know what? I love the interval training. I have a love-hate relationship with that rower. I tend to do it first to get it out of the way, but it gets me really warmed up. So when I hit the treadmill or do the weights, but it's the rower. Some days I love it. Some days I hate it. But I love interval training. I think you need to do that interval stuff in order, to be in good shape and to have a great endurance level.
We hear you're a big fan of Whataburger. What is your go-to order there at Whataburger?
I always get the cheese jalapeno no onion burger. I don't know what number of that. I should have the meal memorized, but that is my go-to. But
I think it's a 5 or a 6.
A 5 or a 6, one of them.
I think, right?
But let me tell you, because of the pandemic, although I exercise, being at home, I was eating a lot with my husband. So now his doctor put him on keto. And so what I'm doing is ordering Whataburger, but without the bread.
Are you going keto as well?
I'm trying it with him. I'm trying to be supportive because I don't want to be eating something, that he's going to want. So, we're a couple. I got to support him. So I'm doing some of the keto, but I will tell you, I'm feeling better.
Yeah.
I feel better.
I've done it before. Stock up on bacon.
In San Antonio, we assume you're a pretty big Spurs fan. What are some of your best Spurs memories? I know they missed out on the playoffs this year for the first time and seems like a lifetime. But who are some of your favorite Spurs players and who are your favorite Spurs moments from the past couple of years?
I always think of the Memorial Day shot that Sean Elliott did. That was huge. I still remember where I was when I watched that. Winning the championships. It's just a great group of guys. I love Popovich. Manu was one of my favorites. So there was just so many fond memories, and I was so lucky because when I got to San Antonio, and I think it was when I was in law school, maybe my last year. That's when I was lucky. I was blessed. They were such a strong team. Now they're having to rebuild, but the memories and how it brought the community together. And they're just a great group of humble players. No arrogance. And when we've needed them, they've just provided the support for San Antonio to bring the community together. And, Popovich is awesome. He's another great person and just, he really supports the San Antonio Food Bank. They give back to the community, but there were some great memories, some great games that I was able, to attend. So at the time when my husband, he was the VP of government affairs at the time. So I got to go to all those great games with him. I was very spoiled.
So, Representative, I went to school down there, and I remember during basketball season, it was Spurs fever everywhere. How was it during the pandemic? Was it as fervent or was it kind of muted?
It was a little bit muted, but when the bubble started, the games in the bubble, I think that gave us all some entertainment to watch because we had them playing there. Pop is being very vocal now on political things. So that has been the talk of a lot of the media stories is when he comes out with something, that he has to say and wants to deliver a message, we're all in tuned, right? And but I think it really, I noticed when games were being played, that when I got on social media, all my San Antonio friends were excited because it just gave us an escape for a little bit of time.
It's a great way to decompress. In your fandom, have you had a chance to actually meet any of the Spurs players or Popovich by chance?
I have, so one of the big fundraisers that Popovich has, he would have a restaurant in Leon Springs, and then he would have the players actually be the servers. So they would serve the meal. And I have a great picture with Manu. Like I said, very nice, just nice and humble guys.
Yeah, they are a fantastic franchise. I'm sure they'll be back in the playoffs for sometime soon. You can't keep a franchise that's that well run down for too long. So, Representative, you're entering your fourth session coming up in 2021. Is that right?
It's like 3.5 because I came in a weird special election.
We'll round it up. We'll call it 4.
Call it 4.
What has been your favorite memory so far as a member of the House of Representatives? And what is something that you would tell an incoming freshman that they would need to know on day one?
Gosh, I'm trying to think about. I think I have a number of memories, not one in particular. I think it's the camaraderie when we're working so late into the night, and we can just laugh on the floor if it's a joke. I have Lyle Larson and Ford Price that sit to my left, and they're hysterical, and we can just laugh. So sometimes I feel like we're in a big high school class. And sometimes when Jonathan Stickland would act up and, everybody would laugh about it. I know he didn't appreciate it, but there's just moments like that you can't forget. And so what I would tell incoming freshmen is, don't be afraid to meet people. We really are a family. I mean, we're a dysfunctional like a family. We love each other like a family. Families aren't perfect, but we are a family in the house. And so it's important to really go out there and spread your wings and get to know everybody. I think sometimes freshmen come in a little reserved and have their guards up, or maybe feel, well, they're from the opposing party, so maybe I can't get too close. But I always tell them, get to know everybody, because that's the only way you're going to get things done. And you'll be surprised on the friendships that you can develop.
Who would you consider your mentor there at the Capitol? Someone that's kind of showed you the ropes and kind of given you some good sound advice over the years.
Ooh, I think different members. Donna Howard is definitely one. Anything that I've needed and just want to gain personal insight on something, I visit with her. My colleague Lyle Larson is another one. And it's great because we both represent San Antonio, and I can have frank discussions about some things locally. And it's good to bounce ideas off of him, and he's great to work with. Those definitely. But I think in terms of a leadership style that I would admire from afar was our former speaker, Joe Strauss. I loved how his leadership style, the way he held himself in public, the way he handled pressure, didn't get in the mud. I learned a lot watching him and just observing his style.
Representative, again, thanks for joining us today on the Personal Privilege Podcast. We really do appreciate it. Great talking to you about Whataburger and the Spurs and all things great about San Antonio. We really do appreciate you coming on this morning.
Well, thank you. And when we get back to session, we'll see how things are, but I'd love to treat you all to some Whataburger on me.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
Absolutely.
Number 5 or 6.
That's right.
Perfect.